What's up, teammates? I want to welcome and congratulate all of you top men, top women, leaders, contenders, future regional vice presidents, and fighters for financial freedom to the third and final installment of our winning presentation training, where we are always and forever one team, one dream, and one movement. Man, I am excited. We're coming down the home stretch. The part that I'm going to talk about now is the who we are, the what we do, and also getting commitments, right? So this is that final piece of the winning presentation. If you can execute this, this actually leads you to the opportunity of being able to get to the part where you're doing the wealth builder, you're laying the foundation of building a financial house, you're putting certain things in place, and actually being able to help a person implement our services, our strategies, and you as an agent and as a leader being able to make money, right? And so being able to execute the who we are, what we do, and getting commitments actually gets you paid, right? And so you want to really definitely master this piece. And so again, just going back to where we started in the training number one, where I went through the different steps. How do we get to the who we are, what we do, and getting commitments portion of the winning presentation? Remember, when we do the warm up, when we check the client's pulse to see whether or not they're recruitable, they're open to joining the business, open to a business opportunity. If they say, pump the brakes on that, it's not my thing, I'm not interested in that, then you don't do the play. You bypass that and you come to this part right here, which is the who we are, what we do, and getting commitments. Or if they say, yeah, I'm open to making more money and having more freedom, and you go through the play, but once you finish the play, if the person you're speaking with, they say, hey, you know what, it looks good, it sounds good, I want to think it over a little bit, I'm not ready to pull the trigger and join the business just yet. Or they say that, hey, it's not something that I'm interested in, I want to do, I don't have anything against it, but it's not my thing. Then what you do, you immediately shift to the who we are, what we do, and getting commitments, right? And so either way, this is how you segue into it, right? And so what you do is you say, okay, well, great. If it's okay with you, I want to tell you a little bit more about who we are and what we do, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, right? Have you ever heard of a company called Primerica before? You always lead in with that question. You don't just dive into, hey, we're Primerica, blah. No, before you do anything, before you start reading anything from the presentation transcript, you want to ask them, hey, have you ever heard of a company called Primerica before, right? And the reason why you want to ask that question is because you just want to put it out there. Hey, have you ever heard of Primerica before? And you want to know if they have. And if they have heard of Primerica, you ask them this question. Okay, excellent. What have you heard about Primerica? And I'm curious to know, just me personally, I'm just curious to know when I ask a person that question, did they hear great information about the company? Were they a part of the company at one point? You'll be surprised. Many people have been a part of this business once upon a time, and the person you're talking to may very well have been an agent or is an agent currently, or they know someone that's close to them as an agent. And so, but oftentimes what you'll find is that either people have heard maybe just a little bit about Primerica. They don't really know a lot about our company. And so whether they say yes or no is neither here nor there. You're still going to go ahead and share the same information that I'm going to show you and what's in the winning presentation transcript. All right. And so you say, hey, have you ever heard of a company called Primerica before? They say, hey, no, I haven't. Okay, well, great. Well, let me tell you a little bit about our company. Primerica is a financial services company. Make sure you say that. A lot of people have it misconstrued that we just do life insurance and things like that, and they don't have a clue that Primerica does so much more, right? And so you say, hey, well, the name of our company is Primerica. We are a financial services company. We've been around since 1977. And so we're not a fly-by-night company. We have over 40 plus years in business. Now, in that period of time, we've been fortunate enough to help over 6 million families and counting. But what's unique about that is that we don't do any advertising. It's just straight word of mouth. So what happens is that when we meet with a person or a family, We're able to build them a financial house from scratch. And based on that experience, they say, hey, you need to go talk to my brother or my sister. And that's how we've been able to do business for the past 40 plus years, right? So I always like to ask people this question. If we've been in business for that long and we've helped that many people, no advertising, just straight word of mouth, is it probably safe to say we're doing something right? And they'll say yes. Okay, great. And so we have over 131,000 licensed representatives. That makes us the largest independent financial service company in North America. There is no other company that has more licensed representatives than Primerica. We're also listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Our ticker symbol is PRI. And so this image that you see on your screen is when we draped our banner across Wall Street back in 2015. And in that same year, 2015, Forbes magazine, they created a name list of the 50 most trustworthy financial companies. This is the first and only time that they've done that. And we were fortunate enough to be able to make that list. Now, we feel that we're the biggest and the best, but it's not because of our company's size. It's our company's mission that sets us apart. Now, I'm going to stop right there because, what I shared with you is actually more than what's on the screen in front of you, right? What I've shared with you is pretty much what's in the presentation transcript. But I'm here to tell you, if you wanted to just kind of read and flow with what's on the presentation screen, that works perfectly fine as well, right? I might take it just a little bit out of order. I'll definitely read or lead with the part or read the part that says, hey, we were founded in 1977. I'll always kind of start with that just to kind of let people know that we've been around for a while. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to follow and read just what's on the PowerPoint slide and just do the whole beginning of the who we are, what we do that way. All right. Just as an alternative way for you to do it. If you do it that way, that's fine. Right. And so it says, have you ever heard of Primerica? Okay, great. Well, Primerica, we're a financial services company. We've been around since 1977, so we're not a fly-by-night company. We have over 40 plus years in business. We also have over 131,000 licensed representatives, and a lot of people don't know this. That makes us the largest independent financial service company in North America, meaning that we have more licensed representatives than any other financial company out there. We're also listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Our ticker symbol is PRI, and so we're credible on that level. And this image that you see draped across your screen is when we put our banner, we draped our banner across Wall Street back in 2015. And in that same year, Forbes magazine created a name list of companies where they listed the 50 most trustworthy financial companies in America. And guess what? Primerica, we were fortunate enough to make that list. Now, we feel that we're the biggest and the best, but it's not because of our company size. It's actually our company's mission that sets us apart. And so this is our company's mission. We want to help families earn more income, become property protected, debt-free, and financially independent. Now, let me park right there. Who do you know that would love to be financially independent? And of course, when you ask that question, the client's going to say, everybody, right? Myself, I would love to be financially independent. And you can kind of have fun with that. You say, absolutely, everybody wants to be financially independent. But here's the problem. Most people are not. And unfortunately, they don't have a clue of how to get there. Well, that's where we come in as Primerica, is that we help them bridge that gap, right? And so we have a 3-strategy approach to help people create what we call generational wealth. Now, when you hear those words, generational wealth, what do you think about? What comes to mind? What really resonates in your spirit, right? Now, I know that might be a little bit off from what the presentation transcript says, but that's what I actually say when I'm in the appointment. I'm asking the client, hey, when you think about generational wealth, what really comes to mind? What resonates with your spirit? What is your definition of generational wealth? And you let them answer that. And this is where the presentation starts to really take a more profound turn, right? Because when people hear those words, generational wealth, for the right person, it's going to strike the right chord inside of them. And so whatever they tell you, hey, I think about freedom, I think about legacy, I think about money that to leave behind for my children and my children's children. Generational wealth can mean a lot of different things to different people. But I guarantee you that it's all going to be spot on. And then you say, okay, great, I totally agree with you. And so the amazing thing is that we have a 3-strategy approach to help anyone create generational wealth from scratch. And our first strategy is investments. So what we like to do is we like to educate people on how and where to invest their money and how the rate of return that they're earning on their money is extremely key. And so I kind of add a few things in there. I say, hey, look, we like to demystify things like, how does your 401k work? How does your 403b work? What is an IRA? And how can that benefit you, right? And so we demystify those things and put people in a position to where they can not only invest money, but have their money grow and accumulate wealth over time, right? And then our second strategy is life insurance. Now, this is the foundation of every financial house that we put in place. And we believe in having a big life insurance policy. Why? Because life insurance allows a person to purchase an immediate estate. And life insurance is tax-free to the beneficiaries. A lot of people don't know that. But unfortunately, in our community, either we don't have life insurance, or we don't have enough, or we've been sold the wrong kind. And so we're here to correct that injustice. And then the last strategy for creating generational wealth is my personal favorite, and that's entrepreneurship. We believe in tapping into the free enterprise system in America and building your own business. We believe that that is the season that we're in right now. We need to be focused on building and owning our own businesses. We like to call it building a money machine, something that you can be able to pay you whether you get out of bed or not, right? And it's something that you could leave behind to the next generation so they can come into a stream of income that they don't have to go build a resume and work for somebody else to try to achieve, all right? And so all three of these things working together in concert, right, are the 3 strategy approaches that we use to help create generational wealth. Does that make sense? And they'll say yes, right? And so whatever's on the presentation transcript, you're more than welcome to say that. You can read that stuff verbatim. It's designed to be able to really connect with people also. But you can also just maybe add your own little flares to this piece. You don't have to go off on a tangent or anything like that to really hold up the presentation. But this is where you can really start to just vibe with the person that you're presenting to, especially if they're a person that's already been thinking about this stuff. All right? And so when you ask them, hey, does that make sense? Everybody's going to say, yes, it makes sense. Okay, well, great. Well, these are our strategic partnerships of companies that we use at Primerica to help us execute our vision. Do you see any familiar names on this list? And most people that you talk to, they'll see maybe 1 or 2 or 3 familiar names, maybe 1 or 2, to be honest with you. And then regardless of what they tell you or who they recognize or who they don't recognize, sometimes you may see, you may come across someone that they don't see anything that they recognize, and that's fine too, because hey, some of these names aren't necessarily household names to certain people, and that's fine, right? No knock on them or anything like that. But, regardless of what a person says, you say, hey, listen, what we're able to do at Primerica is that we bring Wall Street to Main Street. We are a one-stop shop when it comes to financial services, but we're able to provide home delivery. And so, like I mentioned earlier, we don't like to take a sales approach, we take an educational approach. And in life, one of the things we educate people on, there are 2 major financial risks that we all have to manage. Now, I know on the presentation transcript, it says in life, there's 2 major risks that we all have to manage. What I add in there, I say, hey, in life, there are 2 major financial risks that we all have to manage. And that's either we're going to die too soon or we're going to live too long. Dying too soon speaks to the risk that if you were to pass away, your family's going to need some money to take care of your responsibilities. So life insurance is the best defensive strategy to have in order to mitigate that risk, but having the right kind and also the right amount. But then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is living too long, and that speaks to the risk of outliving your money. That is one of the biggest fears that people have as they get close to and head into retirement, is am I going to run out of money? And nobody wants to be in the position where they run out of money and they're forced to go back to work or be dependent on the government or family to take care of them. So the best offensive strategy to have is to have enough money invested. So what we like to do is to provide people strategies to help give them peace of mind around either scenario, right? And so what I normally do at this place right here If you've already gone through the play, there's no need to go through all the parts of the who we are, what we do. What do I mean by that? You don't have to cover the rule of 72. You don't have to cover the 3 investment phases. You don't have to cover the theory of decreasing responsibility, because you've already spent probably maybe the first 15 minutes or so doing the warm up and the play, right? And so now what you're doing, you're just kind of shifting and you're going through, hey, who we are, what we do, just kind of give you a taste of what Primerica is about. And instead of going through all of those details, you're going to, right after you talk about the 2 major financial risks, you're going to skip down, listen to me, you're going to skip down to most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan, right? So we're going to role play that part. We're going to say that this was somebody that you did a presentation for. In the warm-up, they said they were open to the opportunity. But after you did the play with them, they said, hey, you know what? It's not something that I want to move forward with. And you're doing the who we are, what we do with that person, right? And so right after you show them these 2 major financial risks, what you do, family, is that you skip down and then you say, well, great. Well, we believe that most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Our solution for that is a financial needs analysis, or what we like to refer to as a wealth builder. And all that is a financial plan. It's customized to fit whoever we're in front of. Whether you're married, single, kids, no kids, we customize your plan. It's also confidential, which means that we value your privacy. But the best part about it is that it's complimentary. I always joke and say that that is a bougie word for free. And if something's free, you can agree that anyone can take advantage of it, correct? And the client will say, yep, absolutely. And so it's like a financial GPS that shows you exactly where you are right now, but ultimately, what are the steps that you need to take in order to become financially independent? So I think I know the answer to this question at the bottom, but I'm still going to ask it. On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become profit protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And most people are going to say 10. Matter of fact, 99.5% of the people are going to say 10. Now, if a person doesn't say 10, it's probably a good chance that they misunderstood the question. They may think that you asked the question about where they are right now. So people might say, I'm about a 4, I'm about a 6. No, that means that they misunderstood the question. What you're asking them is, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, what is your desire to be properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And everybody's pretty much going to say a 10. Now, when they tell you 10, then you say, great. Well, if you ask most people that same question, how do you think they should respond? And they'll say a 10. Well, great. Well, that lets us know that you could probably benefit from getting one of our free wealth builders, right? And let me explain that process. We take you through the equivalent of about a 1-page questionnaire. It is not all invasive in your personal business, but what it does do, it identifies a couple of key areas that I know that are probably important to you when it comes to your financial future. The whole process takes about maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Would you be open to allowing us to schedule a second meeting with you to be able to do your wealth building? Would you be open to that? And 99.5% of the people are going to say yes. And you could throw some things in there like, hey, the whole process, we schedule a second meeting with you. We do it virtually just like this, but we take you through that piece, and we build you your financial house from scratch. And I think you'll be impressed with the information. Would you be open to allowing us to meet with you to give you your free wealth builder? And like, again, 99.5% of the people are going to say yes, right? And so it's important that you kind of ask those lines of questions at the end, because that leads a person to scheduling that follow-up appointment with you to do the wealth builder, right? Or you could change the verbiage and say, hey, listen, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to be properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? They will say 10. Great. Well, that lets us know that you could probably benefit from getting one of our free wealth builders. Let me explain that whole process. It's the equivalent of us taking you through what's about a 1-page questionnaire. I promise you, it's not all invasive in your personal business, but what it does do, it identifies a couple of key areas that I know that are probably important to you when it comes to your financial future. Again, the whole process takes about 45 minutes, maybe 30 to 45 minutes to an hour. So would you be open to allowing us to work with you to give you a free wealth builder? And they'll say yes. Okay, great. You at that point, you can say, well, listen, if you have time, we can kind of dive into it right now just to kind of get the process going and get the process started. Is that okay? Are you open to just kind of go ahead and get it started now? Would you be interested in seeing what it looks like now? You will have people to say, yeah, let's do it. Why not? And so that'll allow you to collapse time frames to be able to take people through a wealth builder. Now, I'll be honest with you, teammates. I'll be honest with you. I don't do a lot of wealth builders on the spot. That doesn't mean that it's wrong to do that. I just know that with most people, in order for me to do a solid wealth builder with them, they're probably going to have to gather a few pieces of information. Now, some people already have that information at their disposal. They can look it up on their phone. They got it stashed around the house. They can go get that stuff. They might be in their office. They can go get it. They got access to it just like that. And that's amazing, right? And so it's okay to see if that is the case. But if sometimes people might have to gather the facts about, hey, how much do they have saved for retirement? Where's their life insurance policies to be able to put their hands on them to determine, what type of coverage they have, how much they're paying. Sometimes people just got to get that stuff together, right? And so scheduling a second meeting it may be warranted. Now, when you're scheduling that second meeting, what you're looking to do is schedule that second meeting probably within the next maybe 3 to 4 days at the most, right? You're not trying to wait a whole nother week. Listen to me. Don't wait a whole nother week to try to get in front of a person. See if it's possible to collapse that time frame and get with the person within the next 24 to 72 or so hours, 72 to 96 hours. Get back with them in that window of time. That way it's still fresh. That way it's still, on their mind. And they know that they need to go get their documents and all that good stuff. See if you can collapse that time frame. Now, if a person's schedule just does not permit to be able to get back together within that time frame, then you go ahead and schedule that follow-up meeting with them at a time that works for them and that's convenient for them. But you as the professional, you as the financial professional, you want to lead them to the day and the time, right? You don't want to just leave it totally up to them. You try some dates. You throw some dates out there within that 24 to 96 hour window and see whether or not people are open to it. And you do it in a nice professional way. Don't come off as pushy or anything like that, but you do it in a nice professional way to just to try to create some urgency around, hey, this is what we're doing. We want to have, some urgency about it. It's important, right? You don't have to say that, but in your mind, you're thinking, hey, this is important. There's some urgency that we need to have here in order to be able to capture and maximize this moment. All right. And so, but that's what you do. And you lock down that wealth builder. That is the who we are, what we do. The getting commitment part is securing the wealth builder meeting, whether you're doing it on the spot or you're scheduling a follow-up meeting as soon as the client is available and they're willing to meet back with you. All right. And so hopefully this was helpful. Teammates, I've seen people go through an appointment process. I've seen them do a great warm-up. I mean, a fantastic warm-up. And then they go through the play, and the play is spectacular. I'm talking about stellar, right? I've seen them cover the bases on the who we are, what we do. But I'm going to tell you where people fumble the ball. Do you want to know where people fumble the ball? This is where they fumble the ball, on this page right here. On the most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Man, they'll do a strong job of explaining, hey, our solution to that is a financial needs analysis, or what we like to refer to as a wealth builder. All that is a financial plan. It's customized to meet whoever situation we're in front of. It's confidential, which means we don't blame it. They'll go through all of those things, just like it's written in the presentation transcript. But when it comes to securing that follow-up meeting, it's just something about it. Like, people have this anxiety or this hesitancy about really closing. about really getting people to secure that follow-up meeting. It's almost like people double dashing, like, is it okay if we? No, this is where your strength needs to stand up inside of you. This is where you know that you're doing the right thing. This is where you have to understand that if a person doesn't have a financial plan, and most people don't, but if people don't have a plan, and if people don't have access to the information that we will be giving them, that it's going to be dang near impossible for them to really know what their retirement is going to look like. It's going to be impossible for them to know whether or not they're going to be able to retire with some dignity. It's going to be impossible for them to be able to truly plan, right? They're going to be walking around aimlessly, just like most people, on a hope and a prayer that as I get older, that things are going to be okay. They don't know, but they're just hoping and praying. But we have the power to take all the guesswork out. We have the power and the tools to show them the information of whether they're on track, they're not on track, and what they need to do to get on track. And so this, teammates, this is where you have to stand up in your power. You have to be strong at this point. You can be okay in all the other parts, but when you get to this part right here, you better be strong and you better be confident. And if you're not confident, fake it. Man, practice it. Whatever you got to do, because a person's financial well-being is in your hands at this moment. And your ability to execute, to secure that follow-up meeting, to secure that opportunity to take them through the wealth builder, I'm telling you right now, don't miss it. Don't hurt the client by being hesitant to ask and lead and close. Don't do it. Don't be hesitant. Be confident. Be confident in knowing that you are doing the right thing 100% of the time. And so you take them through on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. Mr. and Mrs. Klein, how would you rate your desire to be properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? 10. Okay, excellent. So if you ask most people that same question, think about it. How many of those people should take advantage of that? And they'll say all 10. Well, great. That just shows you that it's impossible to fail at what we do. Everybody wants to be financially independent, but most people don't know how to get there. We're out here bridging that gap. That lets us know also that you could benefit from getting one of our free wealth builders, right? Let me explain that to you. It's the equivalent of us taking you through a one-page questionnaire, right? I promise you, it is not all invasive in your personal business. It's not that. But what it does do, it identifies a couple of key areas that I know that are probably important to you when it comes to your financial future. The whole process takes about 30, 45 minutes to maybe an hour. You know, we would love to put together a wealth builder for you. Would you be open to that? Now, when you see me say that, I'm being nice, I'm being professional, I'm asking, but at the same time, I'm being confident. I'm being confident, and I'm looking to lead them to a better financial life. Teammates, I'm advising you to work on that part, to get that piece down, and to have people look at you and know that you have their best interests at heart, and that, man, look, you know, it's okay for them to say, yes, that's fine. Yep, I would love one. Absolutely. Great. And then what you do is you schedule a time to do their wealth builder within maybe, you know, realistically, probably, you know, the next 48 to 96 hours. If it has to be a week because of their schedule, so be it. But you're looking to get back with them within a short period of time to start transforming these things into a reality for them. And that's where the magic happens. That's where you're able to show them powerful facts about their finances. This is where you're able to take them through the mobile F&A, through the Primerica app, give them their FIN number, let them know if they're on track to retire. If not, what's their shortfall? This is where you show them the dime, take them through the love test, determine how much life insurance coverage they need. And this is where you pull it all together and transform what you've been discussing with them into reality, make the recommendations, close business, bless the client, help the client, and also you as the agent get paid. All that happens on that wealth builder appointment. But if you fumble the ball at this, I've seen it happen. If you're not strong at that point, you would have done all that work only to just miss out on that opportunity to be able to bless the client. And I know that's not going to happen to you because you're going to work hard at it. But teammates, this is the third installment of the Who We Are, What We Do. I'll probably come back and I'm going to do another piece to just go over all the different sections of the Who We Are, What We Do, so you know how to explain those. You can only go through that in the case of you don't do the play. You just kind of segue into the Who We Are, What We Do. You're hitting on the high points. But most of the time, probably about 80% of the time, just doing the sections that I showed you would be sufficient enough. All right. And so love you guys. Hopefully you all got something out of this. Let's look at these things. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, because I am just on this training alone, just covering the Who We Are, What We Do, go back to the #1 training, the first training that I did to get the foundation, and then you work your way up to this one. And I promise you it all makes sense. Love you guys. See y'all at the top. Peace, teammates.